As Alpha Phis, we're known for our dedication to women's heart health. It's been our philanthropic focus since 1946. We take this commitment to heart, doing our part to raise awareness of heart disease through the hosting of red dress events on college campuses and in the partnerships we establish with notable health organizations throughout the United States and Canada. We're facing the #1 killer of women in North America head on. Awarded annually, Alpha Phi Foundation's $100,000 Heart to Heart grant funds research and educational programs that advance the prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of heart disease in women. Since the inception of this grant in 1993, the foundation has invested nearly $1 million in partnership with 26 organizations. Our 2016 recipient, University of Louisville cardiologist Dr. Andrew DeFilippis, is using the grant to lead research on the link between certain lipids in the bloodstream and their potential to pinpoint women at risk for having a heart attack. We're proud to partner with Dr. DeFilippis on this groundbreaking research.
I had an experience with a woman that had a huge impact on me. We'll call her Miss Mary. After a great day, she was going to take a bath in the evening, and she sat down in her bath, and somewhere during this relaxing bath, she realized that she was just completely fatigued. In fact, she was so fatigued she couldn't get out of the bathtub. And it turned out she was having an enormous heart attack. And I was a fellow at the time taking care of her, and it was very striking to me. I was like, how can this possibly happen? This woman not have any chest pain. She wasn't complaining of shortness of breath. Not everyone has these classic signs, and of course, like in risk prediction, all these things we know, these classic signs of heart attack are based on studies from 60s and the 70s, all of which included men. And so then I started looking into, well, are there better ways that we could diagnose a heart attack when a woman comes to the emergency room with vague symptoms? Can we find something in the blood that would tell us that something's going on? So we found something. And unfortunately, it's not something simple, but it's oxidized phospholipids on plasminogen, right? That's a really kind of complicated thing. So our something is measured and was discovered by a group of researchers in San Diego, and we started working with them. And we tested this in all of our patients who were coming in who we clearly knew were having heart attacks. And what we found was it was abnormally low. But it wasn't just abnormally low at the time of a heart attack, because we followed them up months later when they weren't having a heart attack. It was still abnormally low. Well, that's a big red flag that maybe this thing was low before the heart attack, and maybe that's why they had a heart attack. So where do we go from here? And this is where Alpha Phi Foundation certainly comes into play. So all that stuff with risk that I was doing was as a small fish in a big pond in a huge study called MESA, or the Multi-Ethnic Study of Atherosclerosis. And what they did was get almost 7,000 people together who didn't have heart disease and do a battery of tests and then follow them to see who's going to have a heart attack and why. It was mandated, because all previous trials kind of overlooked at it, that at least half would be women. So 53% of these 7,000 participants are women. So this special marker that we found happens to have a lot to do with your blood clotting. Heart disease is when you have a buildup of gunk in these pipes that are supplying blood to your heart. But when this gunk in the pipe ruptures open, your body responds. And it responds by putting a blood clot. You could think of it as a scab. And most of the time you get a nice little scab, closes off the area, patches the artery up, and no one ever knows what happens. But sometimes that scab gets out of control. It becomes a huge scab, so much that it blocks the entire pipe off. And then the heart, which is downstream from that blood supply, dies, and that's a heart attack. So now we have this marker that we found that has to do with your clots being too big. And we know that clots is more of a part of heart attacks in women. So we think we got a pretty good idea for seeing why women have heart attacks. We need a way to test it. So I went to MESA. Can I test my marker in all 7,000 and then see if the women who had the low levels, did they go on to have heart attacks? I'm really looking forward to leveraging your donations. $100,000 is a lot of money, and to be able to leverage this $100,000 to be able to use the information and the samples collected from a study that cost $100 million is, I think, really spectacular. And it's really because of your generosity we're going to be able to do this and make a difference.
The Heart to Heart grant and its impact on women's heart health is made possible by the generosity of Alpha Phi chapters and individual donors. Together, we're making a difference in the future of all women, ensuring they can live longer, healthier lives.